Joining us now, Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich. Sir, it's good to have you back on. Okay, we brought this story to viewers last week, and finally an arrest has been made. A weapons smuggling case at the border. Myra Padron, U.S. citizen, Rio Grande Valley, tried to smuggle a large load of weapons into Mexico, hidden in trampoline boxes in the back of her pickup truck. I mean, the chaos and the mayhem at the border continues, as evident in this story.
Yeah, Liz, I mean, this is just an indication of what we've been talking about. The cartels have seized control of our southern border. And so whether it's, unfortunately, Americans working to empower the cartels or help the cartels, and whether it's guns or even money being brought back across the southern border, and as a result of that control being lost, you have a record amount of drugs flowing into the country. So the Biden administration has essentially not just abolished ICE, I mean, they've abolished the southern border.
So you mentioned fentanyl. You and I have been talking about this. Fatal drug overdoses in the U.S. soaring to record levels, fueled by this deadly drug fentanyl. It's multiple times more lethal than morphine and addictive, and it kills people. It's killing, teenagers in Connecticut finding marijuana laced with fentanyl. So now Congress is telling Border Patrol, scan all trucks and vehicles 100% of all vehicles coming across the southern border for drugs. There's 500 vehicles an hour on average, we're hearing, depending on the port of entry. Now less than 5% are scanned. Do they have the manpower to do this now?
Well, it's not just about the manpower, Liz. It's about the willpower. It's about the fact that the Biden administration has systematically not only demoralized ICE, but the policies themselves have decriminalized and essentially incentivized people breaking the law. And that's why me and some of my colleagues continue to sue the Biden administration to hold them accountable. I'll be arguing at the U.S. Supreme Court just next week on an immigration-related case. And so it's not just about the resources, it's about the will. And we know that ultimately 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be deadly. And, we lose sight of these numbers, but 1,100 pounds of fentanyl were seized just in November, more than 500 pounds in December. Liz, that's literally enough fentanyl in just 2 months to kill more than 200 million Americans. I mean, so this is a crisis. It's a catastrophe. It's a man-made disaster. And it's not staying here in Arizona. It's not staying in Texas. It's coming everywhere. It's going to be in New York and Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine. It's going to destroy our neighborhoods.
We've been reporting, cops, say on the Golden Gate Bridge, pulling over cars because the car is weaving. And turns out the driver's getting knocked out by fentanyl. And then the cops get knocked out trying to apprehend and stop this situation. They have to apply Narcan. I mean, I'm not sure, people out there understand how dangerous this is. But, Border Patrol, they're going to use multi-energy, portal to zap cargo areas with high energy waves. So this is more supply chain stuff, right? I mean, they're saying this is safer low energy screening for the trucker in the cab. So it's more stuff that the drivers are going to have to deal with, right?
Yeah, and more importantly, what we've seen even here on the ground in Arizona is that you'll have a group of migrants come across, voluntarily be apprehended so they can be processed and flown throughout the country and staying in hotels. And the drug cartels know that, and they'll use those opportunities then to, use drones or mules or, the gotaways to bring in drugs and backpacks and trucks. And so it's not just about screening those ports of entry. It's about having that willpower and those resources to not encourage people to come here illegally and not give the cartels essentially a free pass.
Yeah.
Because as a result of that, the system is being overwhelmed and our communities are dangerous and they're less safe than they were just a year ago.
Yeah, we're just a generation away from 9/11. So why is the White House weakening the border, not doing more to secure it? I mean, we had 13 cops shot at in 24 hours. We've got crime and drug gangs on the rise in U.S. cities in your home state and in Maryland. We had cops shot in your home state, right? So why not the focus on just securing the border?
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking. I was a gang prosecutor. I was also a federal prosecutor. So I have been on the front lines of fighting the folks that want to make our lives dangerous. And we all recognize, or most of us recognize, that, if you allow small, petty crimes and disorder to go unpunished, you're going to end up then with major crimes and violence and essentially anarchy. And that's what the Biden administration and his enablers like Cartel Kelly and AOC have wrought upon Arizona, and they are also bringing to other communities. And so it's a disappointing but it's not surprising that when you allow the cartels to seize control of the border and you allow people to demonize, the thin blue line, the brave men and women that are fighting to secure our neighborhoods, when you do that, you're going to end up with more crime. And ultimately, what keeps us up at night as prosecutors is that border security is national security, and it's not about the cartels. It's about terrorists coming in this country as well.
Got it. Mark Brnovich, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you. I'm Elizabeth MacDonald.